Hey everyone. The tragedy of Bishop Marvin Winans is beyond heartbreaking, and as news surrounding his struggles and painful journey continues to surface, it has left countless fans, church members, and music lovers in a state of disbelief, sorrow, and prayerful reflection. Because for so long, Marvin Winans has been celebrated not only as a member of the legendary Winans gospel family, but also as a pastor, mentor, and spiritual leader who touched millions of lives through his voice, his words, and his ministry, and to now see his life marked by tragedy feels like a cruel twist for someone who gave so much of himself to God's work and to the people who loved him. Marvin's story has always been one of resilience, coming from the Detroit-based Winans family, a household that produced some of the most iconic gospel voices in modern history. And while his siblings like BB and CeCe Winans shined in their own right, Marvin stood out with his deep, rich vocals and his ability to stir hearts with the weight of every lyric he sang. But beyond the music, his calling as a pastor led him to establish the Perfecting Church, where for decades he poured his life into shepherding others, guiding families, counseling broken marriages, and raising generations in the faith. Yet, beneath the surface of his remarkable success, the personal tragedies and hardships he endured were both profound and devastating. From the heartbreak of a highly publicized divorce that left him shattered emotionally and spiritually, to the strain of navigating the constant spotlight and expectations placed upon him as a member of gospel royalty. Marvin's divorce from gospel singer Vicki Winans was not only a private loss, but a public spectacle, leaving scars that would take years to heal, and many close to him admitted that the toll of that broken marriage lingered on his spirit, shaping the way he moved forward in ministry. But even beyond relational struggles, Marvin has also faced health battles and the crushing weight of carrying so many burdens within his church family, where at times he gave everything of himself while silently battling his own pain. Those who know Marvin closely have spoken of his moments of deep weariness, when the expectations of leading a megachurch, running outreach programs, and continuing a musical legacy collided with the private sorrow of loneliness, grief, and internal battles no one else could truly see. His tragedy is not just in the events that occurred, but in the way they revealed the vulnerability of a man so many believed to be untouchable, a reminder that even the strongest spiritual leaders bleed in silence. Add to this the immense grief of losing loved ones over the years, including family members and close friends who were instrumental in his journey, and you begin to understand why his life has been marked by so much heartbreak. In recent years, concerns about his health, his absence from certain public events, and whispers about personal struggles have reignited fears among fans that the weight of his burdens might be more than he can carry. What makes Marvin's tragedy so painful is that it echoes the reality of many spiritual leaders, that the ones who give the most are often the ones who suffer the most in silence, and while they preach strength and healing to others, they themselves battle wounds that are rarely addressed. For Marvin, his music and sermons have always been his shield and his release, but behind the microphone and pulpit stands a man who has endured betrayals, loneliness, and physical challenges that many would crumble under. And yet, despite it all, Marvin Winans continues to stand, even if bruised and battered, proving that tragedy does not erase calling, even when it threatens to overshadow it. This heartbreaking reality has united fans and followers in prayer, as people across the globe plead for his strength, healing, and peace, recognizing that the tragedy of his journey is not just his to bear, but a sobering lesson for all of us about the fragility of life, love, and ministry. To look at Marvin Winans now is to see not just a gospel icon, but a man who has carried unimaginable pain, and while the tragedy surrounding him feels crushing, it also underscores the resilience of faith, reminding us that even in the valley of shadows, God still holds the power to restore. As this heartbreaking chapter of his life continues to unfold, the world can only watch, grieve, and pray, holding on to the hope that Bishop Marvin Winans' story, though filled with tragedy, will ultimately shine with the redemptive light of healing and renewal, even in the midst of his most heartbreaking season. Thanks for watching.